They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views.
And everything else in between.
Shut up! That is so stupid!
Yes, shut up because that sounds very, very stupid. Um, I, you may be wondering, Norm, to whom I'm referring they should shut up because that sounds so stupid too. And this week, I know how you feel. I know how you feel about this particular topic, but this week that goes to
I haven't said anything about the topic. I think it sounds like a great topic.
the liar in chief down below the border, who happens to, or the hypocrite in chief, I should say, in this regards, who he have been just hammering down on his DEI executive order, even making the
Ugh.
DC plane crash press conference completely about his opinions on DEI when literally
Ridiculous.
his entire cabinet pick just sounds like a DEI pick because, I mean, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, we can just keep going down the line, but I mean,
Were they confirmed yet?
no. But as far as I'm concerned, just the selection alone sounds like a DEI selection to me.
It's total incompetence.
So, they like to say, oh, we're just, DEI should be put away. We should be only hiring the best person for the job. The job should be colorblind. Does he know that? Do the people around him know that? Shut up. You sound stupid. With that being said, welcome back to Daddy and Son, everyone. My name is Son.
And I'm Daddy Norm.
And, gays, ladies and gentlemen, we like to spice things up with this show, mix it up, but this is our show, goddammit. So we will take the time and express our feelings because what? It's cheaper than therapy. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about gym crushes and cruising at the gym. And, I think this is something that is so familiar with just the LGBTQ community in general. But in general, everyone, even our female listeners who are not of the community, shout out to the tourists that listen. Welcome. We love you. We thank you for your support and your listenership. But yeah, I'm sure everyone listening can probably relate to cruising at the gym. Do you know what cruising is, Norm?
Do I know what cruising is? Isn't that thing with a big boat and you go into ports every now and then and you drink the free wine and all that stuff? That's cruising, right?
That is a form
I've been
of
on
cruising.
3 of them. They're wonderful, especially the Caribbean.
I've never been on a cruise before. I'm working my way up to it. I think I first need to learn how to swim, but I digress. Cruising, it's for those of you who may be listening and thinking, it's a holiday on a big boat. Cruising is just the practice of seeking out and seeking within when in spaces that are unconventional for dating. So, like the parking lot or the park.
I call it aggressive socializing.
Not aggressive socializing. Or in this case of today's topic, the gym. So, one of the things that I want to kick off today is, have you ever had a gym crush?
What do you mean by a gym crush? Let's define our terms, because I've met people at the gym who are very nice, but I've ever dated somebody from a gym? Actually, no, I haven't.
Well, not a date. You've never dated someone from the gym? Not ever?
I can't.
In your many years of living.
I'd have to go through my Rolodex a few minutes from now and just see if I can think of somebody. Give me a moment, will you?
But like a crush, it doesn't have to be somebody you've dated, but just someone that you constantly see at the gym, and every time you see them, you're just like you want to approach them. Your heart starts to flutter. You feel,
honey, go up and talk to them. That's what I do. If they're not interested, bingo. That's usually the reaction.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think I've had a few gym crushes. A few of them I've spoken to. A few of them I've not. And kind of what inspired today's topic for me came out of a recent incident that happened to me. So quick story time. So there was a guy
I love stories.
At my gym that I would always see in the locker room.
I think I've heard this story before. Folks are going to like this.
I've always seen him in the locker room, and he would almost snub me. Never really pay me any attention. He doesn't really talk to me. I say hello to him. He just kind of glances at me and then keep it moving, doesn't respond to me, or says hello, nothing back. And I've seen him naked several times. And it always felt like he was parading back and forth, like into the whirlpool, out the whirlpool, into the steam room, out the steam room, into the sauna, out the sauna, in the open showers.
You go to a very high-end gym. I don't have all those, let's say, highlights at mine. But anyway.
It is quite high-end. I'm not going to lie.
High-end gyms and high-end cruising.
And he never responds to me. Even when I say hello, he'll just look at me and keep it moving. And so I just thought that maybe, I don't know, he doesn't like me, he hates me, or I don't know. In any case, I stopped.
You stopped cruising.
Cruising, or him specifically, or stopped saying hello.
And that's normal. When you're not getting a reaction, you kind of lose interest yourself, right?
Exactly. Nothing is a big boner killer than someone who lacks personality, in my opinion. But I digress. So,
if you can get a boner in the first place.
So there was on Saturday night at Woody's. Hadn't been to Woody's in years, like since pre-pandemic.
Tell our friends what Woody's is, just for those that don't know Church Street in Toronto.
Those of you who are not of Toronto culture. So Woody's is one of our oldest pubs that have been around.
Cruise bars.
It is also the set of Babylon in Queer as Folks, the US version that was shot and filmed in Toronto, Canada.
That's right.
So it's a very legendary, historic pub and world famous in Canada.
It'll be the ground floor of a condo in 15 years, but I digress.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But so there was on the dance floor, and this guy who I barely recognized because he was wearing lipstick or lip gloss and had a full beat of makeup and like a very sequin top and a very tight jeans, came up to me and he said, hello. So it's just like, hi. And he's like, do you remember me? To which my response was,
ding.
Should I? Because
you said, should I? This is the guy you've been cruising?
I never because it was hard to recognize him.
He was out of character.
I've never seen him in makeup before. I've never seen him.
You didn't recognize him with his clothes on.
I didn't recognize him with his clothes on. I'm not even gonna lie. And I jokingly said to him, I didn't recognize you with all the additional getup. I've always seen him straight out the shower, straight out the sauna, you know, for his ethnicity. He's for an Asian guy. He does have a schlong. He is quite hung. He's quite hung. So I don't know. Maybe
he was from Hong Kong.
it's down under. But something is going on over there. I don't know if he's biracial or what, but phenotypically he looks Asian, but he's hung. So the rumors aren't true. But I digress. And he was dancing with me at Woody's and was very friendly and struck up a conversation asking where I've been because he hasn't seen me at the gym. And as you know, I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't been going to the gym as frequently as I usually do because I've been away from months and months at end. Just like, where you been? And we were just catching up and dancing with each other on the dance floor. Even bought me a drink.
Can I ask a question? I didn't think you could dance at Woody's.
I mean, you have to like make the space for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Part the crowd like Moses. But
for those of you that don't know the Toronto gay scene, it is not nearly as fun and activity full as it used to be. Yeah.
No, but it's just usually generally packed. Like barely any like shoulder to shoulder packed. So I mean, literally, you have to like part the crowd to even get a dance, to even do a 1-2 step. But back to the story about the gym crush. I was surprised.
Wow, he recognized you
in the way that he recognized me and the fact that he approached me.
So the sowing of cruising energy that you had conducted at the gym looked like it might be paying off some dividends in another environment.
Maybe there's some ROI on that, but God damn it, took almost a year.
Well, you know what? Some good things are worth waiting for.
Anyway, so to that end, that's why I was curious.
So what happened after that?
Oh no, we kind of just spoke, we exchanged Instagrams, and I went my way, he went his way.
So bottom line, if you want to be recognized by somebody on the outside street, be prepared to wait a year if you're cruising them at the gym.
Or never feel as though because someone doesn't acknowledge you in a particular setting that there's something wrong with you. Hold their head up high, because for a while, and I brought this up in therapy with my therapist, for a while, it kind of made me feel less than. It did, in a way, it did affect my ego. Surprisingly, it did affect my ego. So, it inspired today's topic or, subject matter. And, as someone who's been an expert gym goer, because you don't look as fit and hot as you do in your 70s. I know
you have a different body structure.
I know guys in their 40s who are not as fit as you are. So, so clearly as an avid gym goer, tell us, what are the subtle ways in which, you show interest when you see someone at the gym that you fancy? Do you just like pick a treadmill next to theirs? Do you, when they reach for the weights, do your hand touch the weights at the same time too?
I don't find the gym a very cruisy place, to be honest with you.
Are you serious?
I'm quite serious. Maybe it's the type of people I'm interested in. I don't know. I just don't think of it. I see a couple people that are very handsome and good looking every now and then, but I almost just don't think it's the place to do that. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I wouldn't, I'd say maybe, no, having said that, I've met a couple of really nice people and thinking, wow, this would be a great guy to go for a drink with. And in one case I asked and I didn't get any response, but for the most part, it's not, I honestly don't think about it. It may just be I'm interested in younger men, and
Norm, did
most
you
of the men
know-
I see at my gym at the time of day I see them are my age.
Can you specify that? What time of day do you go to the gym?
Well, usually after the rush hour in the morning and before the rush hour in the afternoon.
So like about 9
Retirement hours, dear.
10 to 11?
Yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
yeah.
And like
When it's
10
not
to
as
11, 3 to
crowded.
4.
When it's not as crowded.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't want a crowded gym. I want space to work out and stretch.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and is this like one of those policies where you don't shit where you eat kind of thing?
I don't have a policy like that.
Okay. So if your type did happen to be at the gym when you're exercising, you would shoot your shot.
Well, I would certainly notice them, put it that way.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I
Of course you're going to notice somebody you're attracted to. But the other thing is I just find most younger people are not interested in older men, number one. Every now and then you see
I don't know
that.
if that is true.
Well, not at the gym.
And if there's anything we learned from our Wrapped last year is that majority of our listeners are between the age of 18 to 22. They're sons. They're even younger than me.
Our listeners, yes, but not necessarily people at the gym.
Well,
At least not at the gym I go to. No.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I mean, now if I went to another type of gym, I remember the old gym at Dundas and Young was pretty.
I was going to say, because when that gym closed down, the new cruise gym became Richmond.
That was always cruisy.
To which I'm going to say, I don't know what agenda or what time you're on, but I've never not been to that gym and see live action going on.
Oh my goodness. No, I've never seen that.
And by live action,
That's more than cruising, folks.
if you don't know what live action mean,
that's
go ask your go ask your mother
well,
or your cool uncle.
we're talking about cruising and attraction and social interaction on the gym floor.
Well, in the gym in general, right? So I mean, I'm just saying,
It certainly can happen, and I've heard it can happen. Yes,
and I've seen it, and again, I've never not been to, and usually I go in the evenings after work.
Oh, okay. See, I don't like
or on
that
the
time.
weekends.
Yeah, see, evenings after work, I used to do that years ago because I would go to play squash after work. But
You played squash?
I did years ago.
Oh.
And I worked in the suburbs, and I had a full-time job that ended at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. Now I have a lot more flexibility. My tastes are to go when I don't have a crowd there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's just personally me.
Well, I guess was that always the case, or is just that changed with age?
Talk among yourselves. I'll think about that.
Well, while you think about that, we'll just take a quick break. And we're back.
We're back.
So, like I said, we were talking about gym crushes and them making moves, us making moves on them. What is the traditional place for queer men, especially daddies and sons, to be cruising? It doesn't seem like you particularly cruise at the gym. It doesn't seem like that's something that you focus on or you go there for. But and I'm not going to say that myself as a son, that's something that I do or go there for, but it is a huge part of my decision-making factor for gym going, I will admit.
Well, it certainly pays dividends because you have a absolutely superb and fit frame, if I may say.
Listen, you might if you're going to be out here in these streets, you might as well kill two birds with one stone. Get fit and find a husband doing it at the same time, or if you can, try and find a daddy.
Well, look, I find it at the gym. a lot of people are, I don't call them antisocial, but I'd say 3/4 of them have ear pods in their ear. They're closed off. They're listening to music, or they're listening to a podcast, or they're, you know, I find most people are kind of in their own zone. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that is true. And I've said this before in this very podcast that I kind of think it's weird if somebody's at the gym and they're working out and they don't have anything in their ears. It is kind of strange.
Well, I can say it used to be that way for me, but now I have my earpods with me all the time.
Exactly.
And I listen to podcasts.
Huh.
I couldn't be bothered. It's a waste of time listening to music. I can do that anytime.
Interesting.
Podcasts are interesting. They're educative. They're entertaining. I even listen to our own podcasts at the gym sometimes.
I met someone recently who is in his mid-30s who's never listened to a podcast before. Didn't even know what a podcast was.
Holy Hannah.
I know. I keep telling you, you're above your time.
Does he know how to drive? Does he know how to open a door? Does he know how to get money out of a bank?
I was shocked. I was just like,
Has he been in prison for 30 years?
you're an operations manager. What do you mean you've never listened to a podcast a day in your life? What do you mean? I was shocked. I was completely shocked.
You know, we all come across new terms at a certain point. I remember at one time hearing the word podcast and thought, what in the heck is that?
That's true.
But here I am.
Here you are. So, debate.
Mm-hmm.
Should flirting ever be allowed on the gym floor, or is it a sacred no-no?
There are no rules against it, so you may do it.
Here's what I think. I think, and this is whether you're a son looking for a daddy, or you're just a chick at the gym, you know, trying to pick up a guy.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, there's no rules against it. I don't think it's a bad thing. Where I think it becomes a bad thing or becomes annoying is when you're taking up space and you're doing squats, and you're doing it wrong, but you're doing squats definitely to show off, and you're occupying space and you're occupying machinery that could otherwise be used.
Well,
If it starts to infringe on the flow of the gym,
yeah.
then that's when we're gonna have problems. And I've seen this quite too often. Not only from
Well, is it two people talking to each other, having a...
sometimes it's that too.
Okay, yeah. I can see when somebody would linger on a piece of equipment.
Oh yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
it's that too.
Yeah.
And they're there and they're chit-chatting
And they're yakking
flirting
and they're laughing and they're...
exactly.
And it's very campy or whatever. Or
And-
it could be straight couples doing it too. I mean, you know what? I don't care if people want to do it. Let them go ahead, but get the hell off that piece of equipment when you're finished with it.
I am all for that. It's there's just certain things. It's cringeworthy, and it's actually become a thing. It's become a real thing on social media now. But you know, I want to quickly segue for a moment and ask you, what are we drinking today? It's usually your question, but you brought a lovely bottle of wine for us today.
Are you sure it's lovely?
Well, I think it needs to be opened up a little bit more, but...
Well, it's a Chianti Rufina Naposano from, you would know.
Oh, Italy.
Italy, yes. It's a very nice dry wine. It's probably better with a nice steak or roast beef. But I never turn down a good glass of red wine.
On a cold, snowy day? I think not. I think not. Thank you, Daddy.
Well, you're welcome. I'm mandated to bring a large bottle of Grey Goose next week, everybody. But we digress. However, I'm going to tell you something. I'm drinking less now. I actually do not drink. I made an exception today. Monday to Friday, I'm not drinking.
Really?
Yeah, I've decided to cut alcohol out for a bit, and just see what difference it has on my, my fat levels, my fitness, my whatever else.
I have, since last year, only drink on the weekends.
Okay.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well-
I don't drink
well-
Monday to Thursday.
Well, I'm basically doing the same thing as you. Now, have you noticed any difference from that?
For myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and what? I'm curious. 'Cause
My blood pressure
Oh wow.
went down almost after 2 weeks of not drinking on the weekdays. Almost immediately, my blood pressure went from
Wow.
like a systolic of 155 down to a systolic of 139.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that it affected blood pressure. That's how ignorant I am.
It was massive. Probably
Wow.
it was because I like to drink gin.
Oh,
And gin has the gin that I drink, which is Bombay Sapphire, has licorice in it.
high end, of course.
And licorice, I mean, I'm not 19 anymore. I keep telling you, my body can't take cheap liquor.
Well, I don't know. The blood pressure goes down when you stop drinking, so maybe there's a message there. Mind you, you'd think the good stuff wouldn't affect your blood pressure as much as the cheap stuff, right?
Like I said, it's the herbs. It's the herbs. The herbs. And I also stopped vaping as well. Completely.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody who is listening that are friends of the show that wants I have a CBD, a CBG, and also CBN vape. That is two are practically full and the other one is half used. If you would like it, it is yours. But
Are you making those crazy cookies still?
I haven't baked any cannabis products in a while.
Well, that's good because Norm remembers the night he had a couple of your lovely chocolate chip cookies, which he forgot were cannabis filled, and wondered why he couldn't get off the couch 2 hours later. But that's a story we won't go into right now.
Didn't you end up going to the hospital?
No. But I called you and said, "What the hell's going on?" And all you did was laugh.
Oh my gosh. Anyhow. Have you ever seen any awkward moments at the gym between people who you suspect are probably lovers?
Awkward?
Yeah.
You mean were they having a fight, or were they having a particularly intimate moment at a place they shouldn't have been?
Oh yeah.
Well, I've seen in a couple of instances some things going on that were not on the gym floor, which wouldn't be considered something you do in public.
Oh no.
But that was at the old gym. This gym I'm at now, that's
Much more sophisticated.
well, it's no room.
Huh. Wait, are you talking about Medcan?
No, not Medcad. Medcad's more of a clinic, professional gym.
Are you talking about the
the good lives? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Now the old days.
Tell us
Tell
us about the olden days.
One of the things I've noticed 25 years ago, gyms were the showers were much more open. They're all cut back. Now they've got stalls and curtains and everything.
The ones at my gym is still military style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still open.
Oh, that's how you notice how long schlongs are.
I mean, surprisingly, the
Well-
men at the gym that I go to are very unabashed about walking around the locker room naked.
Hmm.
It's almost form.
Hmm.
If you're walking, it almost is much more rare to see folks walking around in underwear or in clothes
Or a towel.
or a towel.
It's antisocial to walk
And I
around a gym
think-
with a towel.
and
That's a very progressive
It's a very
gym.
different culture. Because I used to go to the Good Life too, and that was typically what people would walk around with a towel or they'd walk around in their underwear.
Yeah.
At this particular gym, it's quite the opposite. Yeah.
Well, that's I guess there would probably be more cruising in that kind of environment, wouldn't there? Or there'd be more to cruise,
There would be more to cruise.
or not, depending on what was there.
It's a mixed crowd, but it's mostly younger people. I will admit. Though there's this one older guy, I think he's a upper level Tory executive.
Mm.
Um,
Good people, of course.
Tory LLP.
Oh, that Tory. Okay.
Yeah, that Tory.
Yeah.
And
That's a law firm, folks, for those that don't know.
yeah, the law firm.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he's going. And when I talk about daddies who just, keep working and won't quit, he come this week. The shade is not directed to you, so don't worry.
Okay.
I saw your body language.
No, yes. Well, I thought we were going to go.
But to this guy, I usually see him walking around, and he wears diapers. He's that
What?
Yeah.
Diapers.
He wears diapers, and he'll be changing his diapers and stuff in the changing room. And he's the eldest member at that gym.
Does he walk around with the diapers on?
Yeah. It is honestly like, and I know.
Well, I got to give the guy credit. He's obviously does not have any inhibition.
None.
He is doesn't
None.
care what people think. He obviously wears that for a medical reason.
I would suspect so, yes.
Yeah. I mean, as men, older men have issues with prostate, and sometimes it's not as quite as comfortable to, go to the washroom and
Or if
number
you can
one.
make it in time.
Or that too. Sometimes you get there and, you're holding up the line behind you. It's either one problem or the other, one extreme or the other. But the point being, he's an example of, how an older person can lose an inhibition that a younger person would feel absolutely ashamed of walking around a gym with diapers on.
Let me tell you something. Going to this particular gym has done so much for my self-confidence. Because
everybody looks at you when you're naked.
Well, that's partly part.
We're getting into some very, very basic topics tonight, aren't we?
That's part of it. But one of the things that I oftentimes bring up with my therapist is oftentimes feeling like an imposter. Whether that's in
an imposter?
Yeah. Whether that's at work or with, some successes. I have this deep imposter syndrome.
What do you mean by that?
I oftentimes don't think that I belong in certain spaces. But I feel like, especially not just as a young person, but as a young person of color, I've not been necessarily raised to feel like I belong. My reality has always been to be thankful to be included in a particular space, right?
Well, I think that's a good attitude anytime.
Well,
I have the same feeling.
This is part of the reason why things like DEI existed in the first place, because people of color never felt like we belonged. We never, and when we did particularly get into a particular space or position, not necessarily like work, but in my case, being at a high-end gym, that typically the demographic that goes to it are rich white men. That are finance bros.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And know that I'm in a space like that where there is less than a handful of black people, as an example, that go to this particular gym. I do feel sometimes, or previously, more often than not, that I didn't belong there. I felt like the guy who I told you who I'd say hello to, who wouldn't say hi back to me.
That sent you a signal that I'm not in the right place.
I'm not in the right place. Yeah. Exactly. And through therapy, I've learned that it's now okay for me to switch my mode of thinking from being happy that I am accepted in a particular space to now just being like, yeah, you worked hard to be here. Occupy space.
Yeah, take advantage of it. It's a great place to work out. You might meet some people that could be good business contacts. Who knows?
Well,
And you know what? They're probably quite comfortable with you.
well, that's the thing. The moment I started channeling my Chad energy, my white boy energy, the type of energy that is like, I deserve this, even if I didn't work for it. Once I started channeling the energy, everything changed. My whole world changed. When I tell you, I walked through that locker room with my head held high and my butt cheeks swing left to right.
And some fine butts.
I don't give a damn, because the ass is built like a shelf. And yeah, I've been told by other guys at the gym that I walk around as if I own the place. And
you
it's
do have
whole
a slightly imperial nature about you from time to time, I would admit.
And it's a big improvement from even the 25-year-old version of myself that existed 6 years ago. So yeah, when I'm at the gym, I wouldn't necessarily say that I find it taboo to cruise, but if I see something
or someone
that I like, of course I'm going to approach it. And even if that is in the sauna.
Do you approach them or do they talk to you first?
Well, to be honest, I'm a little bit shy. So typically I
find that hard to believe. But
what do you mean?
If you're shy, you say you're shy. You don't seem shy to me.
I'm an introvert. What do you mean?
Bullshit. If you were an introvert, you wouldn't be so consumed with this topic.
I'm an introvert. And so I usually just, I keep it cute. I will say hello. I will nod. I will smile.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes my rule of thumb is, if I'm meant to have a conversation with this person, I will see them again.
Yes, that's a good approach, because that way you're patient. You're not showing desperation to talk to somebody, which is a very unattractive thing, right? And if you're at a gym, chances are you will see them again, right? I mean,
Exactly.
It's an environment where people come who are members, and now there's one person I ran into at Manulife a few months ago who, I wish I could remember what he looked like exactly, but there was definitely some quick chemistry, if you know what I mean. And he was off going that way, I was going this way. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll run into him again. Bingo. But those are
And did you?
Those are far and few between. Far between. Thank you.
Far and few between. Did you?
Yeah.
But did you run into him again?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
See, if I
yet.
end up running, my rule of thumb is, if I run into that person another time, then the next time I see them, I compliment something about them. So it'd be like, I like your triathlon top. Are you a triathlon athlete? I like your tattoos.
I like how you're working out.
What's your meaning behind? I've had a guy come up to me once before after I came off the treadmill and said he liked my strides.
Oh. Well, he was either looking at your legs or your butt.
Who can say?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to place. I didn't know how to place it or how to take it. So I was just like, yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Quite nervously.
Really? Now that is the introvert in you coming out, isn't it?
So, it and typically from the compliment, I try to build on it and then from there build a relationship. And that's typically how I do that. And now this kind of has been quite beneficial to me. And it doesn't matter if it's, one of the broligarchs or the
What? The what? The broilergarchs?
the broligarchy.
I know what an oligarchy is. What's a
You know,
oligarchy? That's a new word here. Ladies and gentlemen, please get your Google out.
You know-
Oligarchy.
tech bros who have
Rich.
are rich, yeah.
Rich bros. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you. All right.
Yeah.
That's
The
an
rich
interesting-
bros.
Okay.
And I've through that means or medium, I've made friends with a few that has had its benefits or its advantages. And again,
Platonic or otherwise?
no, completely platonic.
Yeah, yeah.
So
the
unfortunately,
the gym can be a good place to meet. I had a good conversation with a couple of guys in there about 2 weeks ago about college football in the U.S.
ugh.
It was great. It was a great. And I say hello to them now, and I say, "Hey, James, how you doing?" And he introduced me to somebody else another time. I find most of my interactions are very jock level.
You're such a jock.
Oh, well,
Here's the thing. I don't speak jock, but I would ride a jock. Just saying. Anyhow, I want to wrap up today by doing a quick game with you.
Are
you ready for a quick game?
Well, it depends on whether I'm going to be on the spot or not.
It's kind of a hot seat game. It's called Hot or Not.
Hot or not?
Hot or Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how this game's played, it's gonna be rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're just gonna say it's hot or if it's not. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Clear on the rules?
Got it.
Brilliant. Okay. Hot or not? Someone flexes extra hard when you walk by them.
Not.
A cutie offers to spot you even though you didn't ask.
Hot.
They correct your form mid-workout without asking you.
Not.
You watch them casually using the mirror watching you.
That would be hot.
I agree. Someone strikes up a full conversation with you while you're naked in the locker room.
Depends what they look like.
Shade. A gym crush leaves a flirty note in your locker.
Who writes notes these days?
All right,
But-
isn't that your generation?
But that would be if it's my generation, it would be not.
You hear your name mentioned in a very juicy convo in the steam room.
There's no steam room where I go, and I don't go to the steam room, so I wouldn't hear that. Not.
Ooh. You accidentally grab the wrong gym bag and find something very unexpected while you're on the move.
Not.
Somebody's waiting for you by the entrance casually of the gym to say goodbye.
Could be hot, depending on what they look like.
They rev their engine and peel out dramatically after seeing you in the parking lot.
Not. They're a show off.
You don't like show-offs. Someone asks you for your number while you're in the parking lot, still sweaty after your workout. Flattering or foul?
Yeah, that would be hot. It would be flattering, so that would be hot.
Someone that you have a crush in constantly comes to the gym at the same time coincidentally as you, hot or not.
That's hot.
Bonus question. What is the weirdest gym encounter that you've ever had?
Not for publication. Sorry.
Well, fine. Since you won't share, I'm going to share mine. So, oh my God, I've only told this story in secret. So this is an exclusive.
Uh-oh.
And I hope it doesn't come back to bat me in the ass. So a few years ago, this is pre-pandemic, because I was at Good Life at the time. There was this really hot Middle Eastern guy who was changing beside me in the locker room. And, you know, I have a thing for Middle Eastern men. I like them tall, dark, and handsome, and hairy. But I digress. Whew, I'm making myself hot. You okay over there? So, he was changing beside me, and I was going to the sauna, and he was going to, or sorry, I just got back from the shower,
Yeah.
and I was getting dressed. He was undressing to go to the sauna. I just found it odd that for a gym like Good Life, he didn't put a lock on his locker. He didn't put a lock on it, and he had expensive things. Like he had a Mercedes car key, he had a Rolex on.
Wow.
He had, like, you could see that he had money in his wallet, and he just left it all in the locker, unlocked, and then went to the shower, the sauna.
Wow.
But
You noticed all that.
oh yeah, it was quite obvious.
Well,
And it was quite obvious he went always off his way to change and strip in front of me.
Oh.
At least I thought it was kind of, I was, the way how that particular
So
locker
you were
room is
looking
set
at
up,
him.
yes.
Okay.
The way how that locker room is set up, it's like I was at the back of the locker room, and it's kind of like a maze.
Mm-hmm.
So he bypassed a lot of free empty lockers to go all the way to the back. Maybe it was because also it's at the back and he didn't have a lock. I don't know. But here's the part that is crazy. I was so infatuated by him when he left the locker room to go to the sauna.
Oh.
I went into the locker
and left a note.
I took his underwear and I sniffed it. I felt
I can't
so
believe
ashamed.
you said that on radio.
I felt so ashamed. I was like, should I be doing this? And I was so close to taking his underwear and stuffing it in my gym bag and leaving.
I thought you were going to be saying you were so close to something else. But
And
anyway.
something in me just said, no, put it back. Put it back. He saw you looking at him getting undressed. He's going to know it's you. Put it back. And I put it back and I casually exited like I did nothing.
Did you put it back in a way that looked like it was the way it was when you found it, or in a way that he would know that you had sniffed it?
Oh, Jesus.
You see, those are the things that go on inside a cruise-oriented gym.
I still can't believe I did that. Anyhow, to those of you, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you made it all the way to the end, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel,
Yes.
Daddy and Son. If you have any questions for the show or for Daddy, send them over to daddyandsonpodcast@gmail.com. That's DADDYANDSON podcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's show. Until next time, sons, be good to your daddies.
And daddies, be kind to your sons.
See you next time.